Okay, this is a video about the Darius matchup because I know that my homie Forgotten Project has been struggling with this, and I know that some of you are also probably struggling with this as well. So, I'm making this video to try and explain how I play the Darius matchup because it seems like a lot of people have some issues with it, but I think it's relatively easy. So the first thing to look at is I know that I'm on blue side. I know that he's got Ghost, and I know that he's got Aftershock, which is all information that just given to us. So Aftershock, it kind of changes the way the lane plays because if you think about if you think about when Darius is going to be proccing Aftershock, he's only going to get it off of his E. That's his only form of hard CC. So he's going to E you in, you're going to be on top of him. But if you think about it, Aftershock really isn't that great on Darius because when you're Eing someone onto you, there's actually a micro stun on his E that stops you from doing anything, obviously. So when he E's onto you, or when he E's you onto him, you're going to be stunned anyways. So you're not going to actually be able to hit him during his Aftershock, really, because Aftershock lasts like 2.5, 3 seconds, I think. So you're not really going. He's gonna get maybe like 1.5 seconds, maybe 1 second of Aftershock duration where it's actually effective. So in practice, it really isn't that great of a keystone on him, and it makes this matchup relatively easy in my opinion. And I have another game that I played against Darius with Conqueror that I can review as well, if that if that is necessary as well. But I'm just doing this one for now because it is a good game to review, I believe. And also, I know that Nunu is probably going to start red. And whether I know that the jungler is going to start red or not, but they usually do because that's what the meta is right now to start red usually. I always try to sit in this bush at level 1. Not right now, I try to go up like when I think they're going to be coming up from leashing. So I'll hide right here out of vision, and I'll go into this bush to try and get some trip damage on Darius or potentially force a summoner spell when he walks right here. You can do this in like pretty much every lane. There are some where you don't really want to be face checking this bush, like you don't really want to be face checking this against Riven. It helps if you can get your bot lane to get some vision right here or right here and see if their bot lane is leashing instead, because that way you won't have to face check the bush blind. You'll know that their top lane is leashing. And if you know the top lane is leashing, you're free to go in this bush and get chip damage on whoever walks in. You can, if you're not face checking this bush completely blindly, you can do this in pretty much every matchup and you'll win, unless they have like Ignite or something. Um, when they have bone plating like this Darius does, because he's got the resolve tree, the bone plating makes it less effective because obviously you're going to be packing the bone plating when you on your first auto. So you're not going to get as much chip damage, but it's still a pretty good cheese to do, and I would recommend doing it every game if you're on blue side if possible. So I walk in this bush about 125. You notice I'm still out of vision from them. I'm hiding behind this wall, so I can't get poked down or he can't all in me here if I walk in face check. So I'm positive he's leashing now because this is just the leash time. So now, oh shit, I hit jump back. So this is so it's safe for me to walk up at this point because I know he's leashing. And I wait here. I see him come. I don't hit him right away. I can hit him like when he gets right here. I want to wait for him to walk in the bush and get the vital spawn first. So I proc his bone pudding, hit the bottom vital, go up to the top one. You always want to save your Q for the next vital, hit one more vital and run away. And you can see already I've gotten 400 HP off of him, or not 400, but 300 HP off of him, and a corrupting pot stack, and I haven't lost anything. I've lost 100 HP, and lots of times you will lose the gold for these melees, but it really isn't that important. Usually you can get a few. I believe I get 2 here. Yep. And sometimes you can even force them off of the XP for the melees. It is always worth it to make them miss the 3 melees if you don't get gold. So like if you do this cheese and say we're about right here, if you were, if these melees are dying, what I want to do is I want to walk back a little bit so that I'm in XP range, while also still applying a little bit of pressure to him so that he's not in XP range. Because missing that gold is not enough of a detriment to warrant not pushing him off of XP. Because if you push him off of XP, you're gonna hit level 2 way before him, and you're gonna have a shit ton of lane pressure. So if you can push him off the XP speed there with his cheese, it's always worth it to do, as long as you're getting the XP as well, of course. Which is usually pretty easy because you're going to be on this side and he's going to be on this side towards his turret. And from here, I just let the lane play out. I just let the minion wave do its thing. And he's going to front vital on him, so he can't really walk up. And also, another thing I should have talked about earlier is that he's got Ghost. So, a lot of Darius players take Ghost. And that's both a good thing for this matchup and a bad thing for him, because when he takes Ghost, he's going to have a little bit more kill pressure on you, because if you make a mistake, he will run you down with Ghost if he has it up. Darius is very, very punishing of mistakes, especially when he's got Ghost, because he is going to most likely get a phage early, and he's going to have Ghost, so he's going to have a bunch of move speed to just run you down if you make a mistake. So you got to watch out for when he has Ghost because of that extra kill pressure. But the downside to him taking Ghost is that he doesn't have TP to TP back to lane. So if you can force him to get a bad recall, or if you can force him to, or if you can kill him in lane even, then he's going to lose a bunch of minions, a bunch of XP, and it's going to be very, very bad for him. And then if he's got Ghost and he's behind, he's basically just got a summer spell that he can only use for escape, because if he's behind, he's most likely not going to have the damage to run you down with Ghost. Hold on, I got a Discord PM. Okay. So here the wave's pushing towards him. You can tell because I have a bunch more minions than him. So I'm just going to try and chill, try and get some poke damage on him here. I know that he started W because he used it on me up here. So there's no worry of getting hit by a key right now. So just chill. Let the minions do its thing. I know Nunu's going to be pathing. I know that Nunu is going to be pathing towards bot side because he started red, obviously, because of the cheese. And he walks up here. He's got a front vital. Just Q him. I should have queued him and autoed him there, but I didn't. A little mistake from me. And also, it's important to note that when he's got Aftershock, of course, you know he's got bone plating. And usually, even if they've got Resolve, they've got bone plating. So when you go for Qs like that, you always want to make sure you always just want to make sure you're going for Qs like that when their bone plating is up. Qs that you can't be punished for. So like right there, if he gets Q, I'm going to avoid his Q most likely, or he's not going to have damage to kill me because I'm in my minion wave. So if he gets Q there, I'm fine. I can still go for that trade. If he gets E there, oh well, he's going to proc his Aftershock and micro-stun me, like whatever. So when they've got bone plating up, generally if you can go for a trade that you can't be punished for, not even necessarily a trade, if you can just go for a Q that you can't be punished for, it's immensely helpful, because that way on your next trade and on your next all-in, their bone plating won't be up, and if you all-in when they have bone plating up, you will most likely lose because it absorbs a substantial amount of your damage. So you want to try and poke bone plating off of Resolve users if you can. Here, just still letting the wave push. I know that Nunu's bot still, unless he did some funky clear where he's going back up top, but generally that doesn't happen anymore because I changed the Skull Spawn timer, so that is good to keep in mind. And now I definitely know Nunu's bot because he's shown on the map. He's ganking bot right now. So now I'm just going to chill. I'm going to let these minions die, get as much as I can. These are going to be risky to go for because they're under his turret, but I'm going to go for as much as I can. And while I'm in kind of a downtime, the most important part of this matchup is Darius' Q. I think a lot of people, when they struggle with this matchup, they don't treat his Q as much of a threat as they should. His Q is the most important part to winning this matchup, in my opinion, because especially now that his Q got buffed, because he will almost never win a trade or an all-in if he misses his Q. Like if he doesn't hit the blade of his Q. Because he needs that bleed stack to get to 5 stacks quickly, or else you're going to kill him before he gets to 5 stacks. And 2, he's not going to get his heal, so he's not going to actually be able to trade fully effectively. And he's going to do about 70 damage with the inner part of the axe. So dodging the blade is the most important part of this matchup, and it's why I think people struggle with it, because they don't put as much stress on it as they should. So here, I'm just chilling. I've got my XP lead a little bit. I've got a 1 million XP lead because of my cheese earlier in the game. So I'm just chilling. Get his bone plating there. He eased me late. That's fine. I know I can go up for Qs because I know that his E is down, so I can trade for free. There's no issue of me, or there's no danger of me getting hit by an E. And what I began to notice about this Darius is this is something that I took notice of while I played the game, is that he uses his Q on the minion wave a lot, and that's something that I don't want to say he's not a good Darius player, right? Because he's Challenger and he's Darius. He's pretty much Darius one trick. He's got like 600 Darius games and he's Challenger, so he's obviously a good Darius player. But he's making a lot of mistakes this game where he's using his Q in the minion wave, and that is something that is very easily punished by a champion like Fiora, because like I mentioned earlier. His Q is his most important trading tool. So if he uses that in the minion wave and it doesn't hit you, you're free to pretty much wail on him. Also because it's got a pretty long cooldown early game. So this is what I'm talking about here. when he E'd me there, he got his aftershock on, right? But his aftershock is already half of the duration is already gone. As you can see on the tooltip right here, half the duration is already gone before I can even retaliate effectively. So before I can even get the chance to auto attack him, half of the aftershock duration is gone. So that's why I really don't think it's that great on Darius, because obviously your opponent can't really do anything this time. And what you see here is I'm going to Q. Oh, I'm not. Oh fuck. Whoops. Oh, so what I should have done is I should have oh, it was on cooldown, that's why I didn't. So when I mentioned earlier about his Q, his Q being the most important part of the matchup, is that when he E's you like that, you can simply just Q forward into his Q and go into the blade, or not into the blade, into the handle, and you're gonna take no damage. You're going to win the trade because he's not gonna do his Q's not gonna do damage to you. It's gonna do like 40% damage, I believe, if he hits with the handle. So when he E's you, like when he leads with his E like that, it's very very easy to punish him by just queuing forward onto him. Because especially if you have parry up, because if you have parry up and he misses his axe, like he misses the axe blade on you, he is going to be one blade stack down. So he's going to have maybe one or two on you from an auto and a W, and then he's not going to get his third one from his Q, and then you just parry immediately after you Q forward. You like maybe get a Q auto, and after his Q ends, you just want to parry immediately because he's going to auto attack you, or you can wait for him to guarantee auto attack. But either one, it works. So that way you're going to be at 2 bleed stacks after his full trade. So he's going to use his full rotation on you, and you're going to be at 2 bleed stacks. So that means that you have 3 auto attacks of like a buffer. You have a 3 auto attack buffer before he actually has damage on you. Because with none of his abilities down and 2 bleed stacks, he's going to auto you for like 50 damage each, and you're going to have all of your abilities up. Except you're going to have your E up, and your Q is going to be up soon, but parry's down because you used it on a auto. So at that point, you could just freely trade on him, and there's really nothing he can do. See, I'm just doing what I was doing earlier with the wave. Exact same thing, just pushing the turret usually. I'm getting clipped by the blade here, which is not good. So at this point, he actually has threat on me because he has ghost up. Because I am being sloppy with my Qs. I'm not saving them for his blade. So this early game, I haven't actually played very well. The only reason I'm pretty far ahead is because of my cheese early game. So I didn't actually play this early game that great. So here he goes for a trade. You see like there, he got 1 auto on his aftershock. That's like, he only got a damage absorption from one of my autos. Like, I just don't see how this keystone is good for Darius players, and especially in this matchup like this. And you see there, what I did there is I Q forward onto him, parried him. So, and I actually fucked up there. So I was at 4 bleed stacks instead of the 2 or 3 like I mentioned earlier. So I fucked up there. So there was potentially a chance to punish me, but because he was parried and attack speed slowed, it's hard. It's hard to get that. It's hard to get that last auto off. It takes a second. So I can just freely trade on him there. Okay, force the recall out of him, and this is what I was talking about earlier about the ghost thing, where if he has ghost, he obviously can't have TP, so he's going to miss this wave. And he's gotten nothing from his ghost, so. Then here by T-Mat, TP back for wave pressure. And if I believe I streamed this game, so I was probably talking to chat there or something, so I stood still, but I should have pushed that a little harder instead of standing still there. See, like right there, he uses Q on the wave for no reason. So if I'm in a position to punish him, I can do it for free because he doesn't have his Q up. And then now, with T-Mat, I've got this big CS lead because of my early cheese and because of him having to recall with Ghost and not being able to TP back. So now with T-Mat, I can further this CS lead by just pushing him under turret and looking for realms and stuff. The CS, like he's probably not going to get all the CS under turret. He's just not. It's just the way it is. No matter how good of a player you are, you're not going to get every single CS under turret. So I'm going to continually push him in. I'm going to have a CS lead on him, and I'm going to be able to roam and get vision elsewhere on the map. And you see here, if you don't have your Q up to like I did there, I can see my Q's still down. If you don't have your Q up to dodge his Q after his E, just parry it. Like if you get hit by his E and you don't have your Q up, you always want to parry it. Usually you want to try and parry his W or an auto after you Q forward, but if your Q is not up, you want to parry the Q because it's going to chunk you if you don't. See here, he procs Ghost and tries to run me down, but he doesn't have any abilities up. He just used everything. So here, even though he's ghosting towards me right now, he just used a summoner spell, and what I did here is I used my R to get move speed to run away from him. I don't actually plan on hitting any of these vitals. I just want to use it to get the move speed radius and just run away. And since we just traded cooldowns there, I can kill him later when his ghost is down. Because obviously, Fiora's ult is a much less slower cooldown than Ghost. So if you can go for trades like that, it's always worth it. And we're fighting in the jungle. This is obviously a fight that we can win pretty easily because we have them outnumbered and Nunu's only level 5, so I go for it. And he dies here. And this is pretty much where the game gets, like, over for this Darius. At this point, he hasn't gotten in a significant lead on me in lane. And Fiora outscales Darius in the side lane very, very hard. It is an awful matchup for him in the side lane late game. But even mid game, if you're not ahead on Darius. So at this point, he's a kill down. He's 27 CS down. He has no TP to come back to lane for this wave. So when something like that happens, it's basically just like you have such a huge lead over your opponent in lane. And I think the main problem with this matchup for a lot of people is that they go a little too aggressive early game and they get punished by the Darius for it. If he's got Ghost, you really want to play around what he does rather than trying to force something on him, because it's much easier to dodge his Q and not get punished by bad positioning from his E if you were waiting for him to use his abilities first rather than using your Q. Like if you Q onto him for a trade and he's got all of his abilities up, he is probably going to murder you, because you Q onto him for a trade, you don't have your Q to dodge his Q after his E, and then after that you don't have much things to trade back with. You have to use parry defensively on his Q or else you're going to die. And at that point you just have to disengage, and your cooldowns are much longer than his. Your parry is a 24-second cooldown early game. His E is like 16, 17, maybe a little bit more. Not sure. It's definitely not as long as Fiora parry, so he has another window to go in on you. So I think just for the main part of this matchup, you just want to play the early game correctly in that you want to make sure you're dodging his Q at all times, and then you want to always make sure you get an early teammate in this lane too, because he is probably not going to get an early teammate, and that means that you will always have more wave clear than him. And when you have more wave clear than him, if he makes a mistake like this, you can punish him for it very hard. So don't Q forward onto him unless you are pretty far ahead. Buy teammate early game, like you rush it. Don't get like I don't like you can maybe go ninja tabbies if you get killed once, and that way okay, so say you get killed once by him because you make a mistake. If you going ninja tabbies instead of teammate will be safer, but it's not going to let you get a lead. So it's going to stem the bleeding a little bit. He's probably not going to kill you if you rush ninja tabbies, but without teammate you're not going to be able to punish him. So here, he doesn't have TP, so I just get to well in the turret for free, and then get my CS lead higher. Skip forward. Imagine I'm going to recall here, yep. Run back top. And then we trade waves at this point. So we trade waves, except I get all of that, and he misses one. So that's how my CS lead keeps getting bigger and not going down. It may only be getting bigger by like about 2 minions, 1 or 2 minions every wave. But if you keep doing that over and over again, it gets to be a pretty huge lead. Because like, let's start with gold here. I've got a 1k gold lead on him, and I've got 1 kill. 1 kill is 300 gold. So I've gotten 700 gold just off of a CS lead at this point because of forcing him into bad recalls and him having ghosts instead of TP. Here, just keep pushing. I have nothing to fear because I know that Raz is mid and Nunu's bot, and just push for free. And he misses one melee, and I get another turret plate. See, I made a mistake there. I walked into his Q. But at this point, his items compared to mine, really not that great for him. So I can just Q back onto him, and then parry him so he can't retaliate. And then at this point, so the reason why I didn't Q forward this time is because, like I said earlier that you don't want to Q forward onto him, but right there, Qing forward onto him would have been suicide because I don't have parry up. I just used it in that trade. I don't have parry up, and I had 4 bleed stacks on me. So it's important to keep track of your bleed stacks. That's the second most important part of this matchup. So if you have bleed stacks already on you, you want to try and let them go off before he trades or before you go for a trade with him. Because if you don't, then he's just going to get a free 5-stack ult on you and you're going to die. So right there, I didn't go for a Q onto him there because I had 4 bleed stacks and parry was down. You know, I could maybe go in on there if I have parry up, because then I can parry that last auto so he doesn't get his 5 bleed stacks, but it's just risky. And here I have lane pressure, but I'm playing back because I don't have parry up. So this vital is very easy to go for, but going for it with parry down is suicide. So I'm not going for it. And then I parry up. Very soon, I just go a little aggressive after he uses his Q. So he uses his Q in the minion wave. I don't have anything to worry about anymore, even with parry down. And it's only down for like 2 seconds, so I go for the Q there for free. He takes a very bad recall. Okay, no, he doesn't actually clean that good. See, 37 CS up now. Just keep pushing him in over and over again. And then here, I think I go for this flank on mid lane. I don't know if I get anything from it. No, I don't. Yeah. So, I don't get anything from this play, but it's important to note that the option for me to do this was there. That is what is important about this. Because I have lane pressure and because I have Tiamat, I can roam down and go down here, all the way down here, and then put pressure on these guys. So if they had maybe if they were winning this fight and they were up here, I can get a free double kill. So this is why I mentioned Tiamat earlier as being so important in a matchup like this, because while he's safe under his turret, he's not gaining a lead from under his turret. I'm just keeping my CS lead and keeping my 1 kill up over him. And I can put pressure on the map and get vision. So here I miss 2 melees for potential pressure. Definitely worth it, considering that I already have an XP lead and a CS lead. And now I just keep pushing him in over and over again. Does anything else happen in this game? I forget. Nothing important. Okay, so I don't believe anything else important happens with this lane dynamic in general. I think I got my point across in how I try to play this lane. If not, I can make the next video about the one where I play against Darius with Conquer. I believe it's the same Darius, but he switches to Conquer instead. So if you guys want me to make that video, or if someone wants me to make that video, I'll gladly do it. But I think I got my main point across for this game. So thank you for watching, and leave any comments if you have any.